Okay, what we're going to be making today is a meat crust pizza, or a Meatza. For this, we're going to need about a pound and a half of nice hamburger. Lean ground is better because we're going to be draining the grease off of it. I have probably about a pound of shredded mozzarella. You can use your own cheese grater. You can get it pre-grated, whatever. Pretty easy. You can also use whatever cheese is your favorite. You want to use a better quality cheese because I find the cheaper cheeses are oily, and you don't want that. And they don't really melt properly. From there we have the green pepper. I sliced her up nice and fine using my mandolin. And we've also got a package of mushrooms sliced nice and thin. We've got about a pound of pepperoni sliced, already pre-sliced, 2 eggs, salt and pepper, garlic salt, Worcestershire sauce, and pizza sauce. Okay, now the first thing you do is you want to put the crust together. You want to have your oven heated to about 400-ish, right? Like 450. It depends on your oven. If you have a hot oven, you want it around 4. If you have a cooler oven, you want it around 450. Usually people with electric ovens have a cooler oven because electric sucks. So you want to, err on the side of caution. Now we take the hamburger, put it in the bowl, and we give it a little sprinkle of this garlic salt first. Now, garlic salt has salt in it, that's the name. So that means we don't really have to add much actual real salt. Maybe half a teaspoon. You want to add just a couple of splashes of Worcestershire. Maybe about 6 drops. Worcestershire, I don't know. Anyway, it's really flavorful. It adds a nice meaty flavor to meat and a really good smell. So you want to throw just a little pinch of that in there. Of course, the main part of the crust isn't the main part. You want a nice sauce. This is a favorite of mine. I'm not going to show any brand preferences, but, And the 2 eggs. Now, there are 2 ways to get the crust the right consistency. You can knead the hell out of it with your hands, which is what I'm going to do, or you can put it in the food processor. You want to make sure that everything in here is, mushed to a good consistency. You want to make sure the eggs are all the way through. You want to make sure the spices are mixed. Now, some people put Italian seasoning in here. I'm not as big a fan. I like Italian seasoning. We're not making anything more than a crust. This is a base. This is not something to be overly flavorful on its own. Think of it like a pizza crust. You don't concentrate all your effort on the crust. Now this is going to be a bit mushy, but that's completely alright. Because as it cooks, those eggs will firm everything up. Now the tray, you want a nice wide lip on the tray around the edges because you want to keep the grease from flowing off because there is going to be a lot of grease. And to save yourself a lot of headaches, line it with tin foil. Okay. Oh, poor kitty. Okay. Now, you could be doing this with the food processor. But my hammers could use the workout. Okay, now we just dump her on the pan. Get any leavings in there. Okay. And from here we just flatten it out. You want it actually fairly flat because this is pizza crust. So maybe, hard to say, half-inch-ish. I'm a big fan of the ishes today. Squish it out to the sides. If it doesn't quite fill the whole pan, that's completely fine. It is going to shrink, so you want to plan for that. Garlic salt smells really good, actually. I like garlic.
Yeah.
Never would have made a good vampire. Oh, you have to love my thumbnail. My niece put that on me. She has a new nail polish that she wanted to play with. There we go. See, we just want to spread everything out. Don't worry about getting it perfectly to the corners. Like I said, this is going to shrink a lot. But you want it to be nice and even. Okay. Okay, now, once we get it this far, all we have to do is pop it in the oven for maybe 10-15 minutes. Just make sure that it's nice and cooked all the way through and it's dried out quite a bit. We'll fast forward for that. I'll see you in a second. Okay, and as you can see, it's cooked through the magic of television. It did shrink down quite a bit, which is normal. The leaner the ground of hamburger you use, the less it'll shrink. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just going to take a vase cloth and we're going to dab a little grease off the top because there's no need of that, and that will actually make things a little more awkward keeping the ingredients on. We don't want a pizza slip sliding all over the place. Now, we're going to put the sauce on. And the best guide with the sauce is slightly less than you think is enough. When you get to the point where you think you have enough sauce, usually that means you have way too much on there. See, you're just using it to add a little accent. Well, maybe a pinch right there in the middle, just because we're fancy here. There we go. Just think of it like if you were buttering a slice of bread. Spread it all over everything. Okay. It smells really good already. And from there, we want to take the pepperoni and cover everything up nicely. Now, just like with the cheese, you want to use a nice high quality pepperoni, because if you buy a cheap pepperoni, chances are it's going to be gross and greasy, and nobody wants that. And we're going to put a little extra on because, you know, it's yummy. Now, you could use pretty much any type of sausage you wanted. Like if you wanted, let's see, if you wanted a salami or, hell, even, I've seen cooked ham. Cooked ham or anything really. Now, with the vegetables, the mushrooms, unfortunately, I can only go halfsies with because there's only so many in the family that like mushrooms. Just pile them on nice and thick. You want a nice filling pizza. I really like mushrooms. Can you tell? Okay, now. Ooh. Half the green pepper is going under the cheese, and I have a few of them that are sliced really nicely that are going above the cheese. Make sure the cheese is nice and even. Remember, it is going to melt down, so don't worry about that. There we go. Now that we got everything covered, we pop her back in the oven until the cheese starts to brown and bubble. Depending on your oven, it might take 10-15 minutes. And this is the finished product. It was about in the oven for about 15-20 minutes. It depends on your oven. You want to make sure that the crust starts developing that nice bits of brown and the cheese is all melted. Now, the fun part, the cutting. Gotta be careful, it's quite hot. Actually, I should probably have a smaller knife. Just grab something. Yeah, this will do. A little bit of a smaller knife. Hard to get in there with it. Be careful, the pan is quite hot. There we go. Use the spatula to take the beautiful pizza out. And we put it on the plate. And that is absolutely delicious. So, make this at home. And bon appetit.